Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you guys an update to my Gem Knight deck profile for April 2017. I actually thought that I did a recent deck profile for this last year, but it turns out I haven't done an update to Gem Knight since 2015, so I thought this deck was definitely due for an update. It's really fun, and I updated it as best as I can. I went less of a trap variant this time and focused mostly on just monsters and spells, because I found that that really bumps up the consistency, and to rely more on just having a ton of monsters out on the field than, having to rely on traps for back row. So let's go ahead and jump right into the deck profile. To start things off, I run 3 Gem Knight Obsidian. It's like really hot in my room with the weather changing. Very humid. I'm sweating during this whole deck profile, but let's get through this. Like I said, 3 Gem Knight Obsidian. This card, if it's sent to the graveyard from your hand, you can target 1 level 4 or lower normal monster in your graveyard to special summon that target. So he's good with the fusion summoning, just for adding consistency with getting cards back to the field to use for resources, which you can't go wrong with because there are a lot of fusions in this deck that involve, using the hand. With cards like Gem Knight Fusion, the main spell card you use next to Brilliant Fusion. And same with 3 Gem Knight Lazuli. This card, once again, just really helps with the consistency. If it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard, add the target to your hand. So with Lazuli, you can use it with Brilliant Fusion, just because it has to be sent to the graveyard by a card effect, unlike Obsidian, which needs to be sent from the hand. So you'll still get the search with this, no matter which way it's sent to the graveyard, making it a little more, consistent than Obsidian, and it adds it back to your hand and then a special summoning onto the field, so you have other resources to go with in your hand as well. And I like to run 3 of the Gemini monster, Gem Knight Sardonyx, mostly because he is my go-to for Citrine. I'm going to show a little swap that you can do. If you don't want to run this one, you can run Gem Knight Amber. The only reason I run Sardonyx instead of Amber is because my normal monster I run for the Rescue Rabbit plays is Tourmaline and not Garnet, just because I don't have Garnet. But like I said, it's good because it also counts as a normal monster in the graveyard, so you'll get that special summon off there. And he also has, pretty decent stats compared to Amber as well with the 1800 attack. Just a good go-to card. And then for the normal monsters, 2 Gem Knight Tourmaline. Like I said, if I had Garnet, I would run that. But I like to run the different variants of a Thunder and a Pyro monster, just so I have the 2 options of going into basically Prismora and Citrine for the fusion monsters. Just have that diversity, because there's a lot of times when I want Citrine for the fusion play, and then I also sometimes want Prismora, so I can, have the destruction plays to go off of as well. And then 2 Gem Knight Lapis. This card's also a search with Rescue Rabbit, which is why I like to run this. 2 and 2 with Tourmaline is what I found to be most consistent, just because you can not open up as many dead hands, and there are better chances, because there will sometimes be a chance when I have this in my hand, but then I'll get the Rescue Rabbit and open up with these 2 for the special summon, and still have the fusion play, because the fusion play is what I like to go for the most using these cards, which it won't go wrong there, because then I'll also probably have the Gem Knight fusion in my hand, and have the fusion I can go off of with these 2 cards. Very seldomly did I get a hand that involved, Lapis, Tourmaline, and then the Rescue Rabbit. And also now, that's for the Gem Knight monsters. I run 3 Gem Armadillo. Just for search plays, when it's normal summon, I can add 1 Gem Knight monster from my deck to my hand. Very good with the Brilliant Fusion of Seraphonite, getting that extra normal summon. For cards like this, it really takes into consideration getting those search plays off. So opening up double Armadillo and then having the Seraphonite on the field gets me plenty of searches, and then still having the Exceed play as well. And I like to run 1 Gem Turtle just for the fusion search. It's also a good start off if I have a slow pace game early on. And 2 Crystal Rose for the name copying effect. I've been debating bumping this card down to 1, but if I did, I'd probably bump up, just the Gem Knight count to 1 more card to use. If anything, maybe Alexandrite for the search, but 2 Crystal Rose just because it has that special summon effect well to go back to the field. And then 1 Rescue Rabbit for the search for the normal monsters in the deck. Pretty standard there. And the 1 Perform Age Trick Clown as another additional search for the Brilliant Fusion. I know I also have basically Gem Knight Lazuli sent for the Seraphonite play. Then I used the Trick Clown just for the extra light monster to send, along with Crystal Rose as an option in case I don't have the Trick Clown to send. I have Crystal Rose to fall back on as well for Brilliant Fusion. And that's it for the monsters. We'll move on to the spells. I run 3 Gem Knight Fusion. It is your main fusion card of the deck. It is recyclable. All you have to do is banish a Gem Knight monster in your graveyard to add this card from your graveyard back to your hand. And it's not a once per turn either, so you can get copious amounts of fusion summons off with this card alone, as long as you have the resources in the graveyard. So it works really well with Lazuli and Obsidian, adding back and then using Lazuli and Obsidian in the graveyard to banish themselves to add this back. So you always want to keep your normal monster resources available in the graveyard and use those two for the banish effect. And also 3 Brilliant Fusion. This card sets up so many of your plays with Seraphonite. I know that it's been, administered in a lot of different decks, but this one just, makes use of it the most for the actual effect of having the Gem Knight monsters on the field, getting the additional normal summon, getting your searches off with the armadillos, like I said, getting off multiple fusions, having your graveyard play set up. I like to see it shine at its peak in this deck, just because that's what it was originally intended for with this deck. And 3 Absorb Fusion. This card is used more for a search than a banish fusion play. You add 1 Gem Knight card from your deck to your hand, and then you can apply this effect. Fusion summon 1 Gem Knight Fusion from your extra deck by banishing fusions listed from your hand or side of the field. You can only activate 1 per turn, and you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this, except for Gem Knight monsters. So you have to remember that when you're going off of this card. So you can't use Trapeze, not Trapeze. What is it? Trick Clown, because you got to remember that. Same with Crystal Rose and all that. But like I said, the search is good. This is kind of a card that gives you that option to search, and then you don't have to do the second play, because not all the time will you want to banish your resources either. And 2 Instant Fusion. This is for the Norden target, where you can special summon and get more Exceed plays off with your other level 4 Gem Knights in your graveyard. Pretty standard. 1 Unexpected Die for those additional searches for the normal monsters. Countless times I open this card up and then I only have at least 1 to 2 normal monsters left in the deck. That special summon helps if I control no monsters, just to special summon that card out to the field, giving me that quick access to the card than having other cards in my hand for resources to use. Plus 1 Foolish Burial helps to get back the Gem Knight Fusion to, reuse and add back to hand by putting the Gem Knight in the graveyard. 1 Soul Charge, special summon back monsters that can be special summoned with this card. 1 Upstart Goblin, just for that, quick deck search. I like that this deck has search abilities, deck thinning, and then this card just helps me get to the cards I need faster. And 3 Mystical Space Typhoon. Now, the Twin Twisters are in another deck, but if you wanted to run that would be probably the best option, just because Twin Twisters works really well. You have so much synergy with this deck with your graveyard, so you can't go wrong with Twin Twisters in this deck as the actual spell or trap destruction card. And same with Dark Hole being Regeki instead, just because you can OTK with so many fusion monsters summoned out in 1 turn, clearing your opponent's field, opening up the Twin Twisters, and just pushing for game right there. And now we'll move on to the extra deck. I only have 1 Gem Knight Seraphonite at the moment, but I would definitely run 2. The card, you run 3 Brilliant Fusions, so you have to go off of, that play, knowing that you could possibly get this card off more than once per turn. You just need a Gem Knight monster and a light monster. It's pretty standard in a lot of decks now, so pretty simple there. 2 Gem Knight Zirconia, your big muscle of the deck, very generic. All you need is a rock-type monster and a Gem Knight. Armadillo is a rock-type monster, so that even fits the requirements for that. I even think Turtle, yes, is a rock, so they're all fusion options to go off of with this card. And then 2 Gem Knight Citrine would probably bounce this down to 1 if I, had the second Seraphonite. He's really good, but with the amount of Pyro to Thunder I'm running in the deck, you don't see the play go off of as often where you can get 2 on the field. That play is still really fun though, because your opponent can't do anything when he attacks. And then 1 Gem Knight Prismora, just for the Thunder plays. You discard a Gem Knight card from your hand to the graveyard to target a face-up card in the field and destroy that target. Really good, get rid of pesky field spells or other continuous cards on the field that are being a hassle for you. 1 Gem Knight Lapis Lazuli for the burn plays. You need Lapis to make this card, which you run 2 of. Very easy to make with the Rescue Rabbit play, and then hopefully having the fusion requirement in your hand. One Lady Brilliant Diamond for the extra power play. Same for Master Diamond. If you wanted to keep the two Citrines, I would debate on picking one of either of these two to take out for keeping your smaller monsters, just because these are kind of big play monsters, and you kind of maybe only want to run one like Lady Diamond. And then one Topaz because you run the Tourmaline in this build, so it is possible to get him out. If you were to run Garnet instead, switch this card to Ruby, just for that. And then the one Norden for the instant fusion targets. One Dark Rebellion, one Castell, one Abyss Dweller, and finally Daigusto Morel is really important in this deck. You can also help, if you get this card out, to recycle your Rescue Rabbit cards with this card, so you have the possible play to go off of if you end up going good with this card, like let's say Unexpected Die and another already level 4 you have on the field, if those resources have already been used. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm working on a lot of new decks. I know Maximum Crisis is just around the corner. That's going to give us a lot of, new updates to Fluffles, Performa Pals. I'm also working on Crystal Beasts. I've been really, testing out different builds for that, and it looks like a lot of fun, so I can't wait to bring that to you guys as well. But once again, hope you all enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.